When you reach $1 million, the turning point, reaching a net worth of $1 million, is often romanticized as the ultimate dream. And in a way, it is, not because of the number itself, but because of what it represents. At this level, something fundamental shifts in your relationship with money. You begin to move from a defensive mentality of saving, budgeting, cutting back to a mindset of control, leverage, and security. For the first time, you feel that money is working for you, not just something you need to chase. You probably still work, but the feeling is different. There is a psychological safety net that wasn't there before. Emergencies no longer feel like catastrophes. The stress of what if starts to fade. You begin to think longer term about investments, legacy, impact. You're no longer just surviving or accumulating, you're starting to strategize. Maybe you diversify your portfolio. Maybe you start thinking about trusts or advanced tax planning. You don't need to know everything yet, but the shift begins here. People also start treating you differently. Some with admiration, some with envy, and others with expectations. You may notice more people seeking your advice or your help, but the biggest change, it's internal. It's in how you see yourself. You're not just someone trying to get ahead anymore. You're someone who did, and now you have to decide, what kind of wealthy person will you become? When you reach $2 million, freedom with responsibility. The $2 million threshold is more than just a financial milestone, it's a philosophical one. You now have choices that most people only dream about. And those choices come with a weight. You can now afford to say no to toxic work environments, no to time-wasting obligations, no to people or projects that drain your energy. You've bought yourself freedom, time, space, and clarity. But here's a twist. Now that you're free, you realize that freedom alone isn't enough. Because what do you do with all that freedom? That's where responsibility comes in. A $2 million, you're no longer just managing money, you're managing your identity. Are you going to keep growing? Are you going to help others? Are you going to live quietly? Or are you going to lead? This is a level where legacy starts whispering. You begin to ask, what am I building that lasts beyond me? You might invest in a cause. You might start a business that creates jobs. You might mentor someone. The scale of your thinking expands, and with that, your systems evolve. You now think in terms of teams, delegation, and structure. You might hire a financial advisor. You may start working with lawyers, accountants, and tax strategists who help you optimize what you've built. At the same time, you realize you're still human. You still make mistakes. You still doubt yourself. But now, the stakes are higher. Every decision can multiply or destroy more value than before. So, while $1 million brought relief and confidence, $2 million brings clarity and the burden of using your freedom wisely. Timo, aqui est atradwo completa do tercero capitulo, sem cortsu resumos. When you reach $5 million, the architecture of independence at $5 million, money stops being about comfort and starts being about design. You're not just financially free, you're structurally free. This is a level where people begin engineering their lives. You start asking different questions. What kind of life do I want to build, brick by brick? What do I never want to deal with again? What systems can I put in place so that my money works harder than I do? This is a stage of intention. You may create a family trust. You might start seriously planning your estate. You will likely have a team, a CPA, an attorney, a financial advisor, maybe even a business manager. You think in years, even decades, not just in months. $5 million. You don't just protect your wealth, you design around it. You build systems to automate and simplify. You optimize for time, not just returns. You start to value mental bandwidth as much as financial return. This is also the level where you have enough capital to start making meaningful investments in startups, real estate development, or large-scale philanthropy. And those decisions shape not just your net worth, but your identity. At this stage, people may not even know how wealthy you are because true wealth at this level often becomes quiet. You are no longer proving anything. You are building something that works without you. The mindset becomes, how do I create a structure that supports my best self and protects it from my worst impulses? This is what $5 million gives you. Not just freedom, but the architecture of independence. Perfido. Aquí está trabajo completo do corto capítulo. Sem corto resumos. When you reach $10 million, the level of structural freedom at $10 million, you're no longer managing wealth, you're managing a structure that manages your wealth. This is a level where systems fully take over. You likely have an entire infrastructure, accountants, attorneys, investment advisors, risk managers. You are not just preserving money, you're preserving time, attention, and clarity. Your daily life becomes almost untouched by financial concern. Not because you ignore it, but because the systems you've built handle it better than you could manually. You've likely moved past the stage of earning more. You're in the game of compounding, optimizing, reallocating, and protecting. Your investments now earn more in a day than you did in the months years ago. But here's what changes most: your sense of responsibility. You now feel accountable for how your money impacts the world. You can fund initiatives, create jobs, support causes. You don't just think, what can I afford? You think, what legacy do I want to leave? At this level, reputation matters more than return. You're part of networks where integrity travels faster than capital. One mistake, one misstep, and you don't just lose money, you lose trust. So you move carefully, intentionally, and strategically. You also start protecting against things you didn't think about before: lawsuits, public scrutiny, intergenerational conflicts, or simply the burden of too much access. You learn to say no more often. You learn that freedom doesn't mean availability, it means choosing what deserves your time. This is $10 million, not just freedom, but structured freedom, one that protects your peace, your focus, and your future. Perfido. Aquí está trabajo completo do quinto capítulo. Sem corto resumos. When you reach $25 million, the level of institutional force at $25 million, you're no longer just a person with wealth, you become an institution in human form. This is a level where people start to orbit around you. Your decisions affect families, businesses, communities. You're a node of influence, and that influence compounds faster than your money. At this level, access replaces aspiration. You no longer ask, can I get in the room? You're invited into the room before you even know it exists. You meet gatekeepers not to ask for favors, but to decide which gates you'll keep open for others. You might have a family office, a team that runs everything from taxes to travel to succession planning. You operate with institutional discipline, quarterly reviews, audited reports, long-term strategy, and sometimes even a mission statement. Your wealth starts to outlive you in planning. You are setting up foundations, trusts, philanthropic arms. You are thinking 50 years ahead, not just 5. You begin to ask, how do I create value that lasts beyond my lifetime? But it's not all power and glory. At this level, privacy becomes your most valuable asset. Fame becomes a risk. People project onto you expectations, judgments, even resentment. You learn to protect not just your capital, but your character, because one leak, one scandal, one broken relationship can echo louder than your portfolio. You also become a mirror for others. People will want to impress you, please you, win your favor. It's easy to lose touch with grounded feedback. So the wise build circles of truth. A small group that says what needs to be said, not what you want to hear. And finally, your definition of success changes. It's no longer about more. It's about meaning, succession, and stewardship. This is $25 million, the level where you stop playing the game and start shaping it. Conclusion: it's not about the money. It's about who you become in the process. Money is just the scoreboard, but the real game is played inside you. At $10,000, it's about discipline, learning to delay gratification. At $100,000, it's about identity, starting to see yourself as someone who can build wealth. At $1 million, it's about decisions, learning to say no to good things to make room for great ones. At $10 million, it's about structure and leverage, building systems that work without you. At $25 million, it's about impact and legacy, realizing your choices shape lives you may never meet. But in truth, the money itself doesn't change you. It just amplifies who you already are. If you're generous, you'll give more. If you're fearful, you'll worry more. If you're grounded, you'll stay calm in storms. If you're lost, money won't save you. It might even distract you further. So the real goal isn't just financial freedom. It's emotional clarity, strategic thinking, and deep self-awareness. Because if you can master those, you'll be rich no matter what the number says. In the end, the journey of wealth is a mirror. It shows you your habits, your fears, your strengths, your blind spots. It reveals who you are and gives you the chance to become who you're meant to be. So yes, pursue the money, but more importantly, pursue the version of yourself who's capable of earning, growing, and